Hello and welcome back. This is Penny Sansevieri and Amy Cornell, and this is the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Podcast. And before I introduce my fabulous co-host, I'm so excited to announce that this is our 20th anniversary. Actually, when you've listened to this podcast, probably not exactly, but certainly our 20th year in business, and it's just amazing. I'm so excited. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. This is very exciting.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And next year is Amy's 10 year. So we're going to have to do something really I know, it's amazing. We're going to have to do something really, really big for that. And you know, what's interesting is that we were talking about show ideas. Actually, let me just open the kimono, so to speak, right before the podcast. We're like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? And as Amy has seen, Amy can tell you stories. Buy Amy a drink at a writer's conference. Amy can tell you stories. She gets all of anybody that contacts us for new business, she sees them first, and that girl can tell you some stories. Let me tell you that. But we thought we would talk about prepping for holiday book sales. And I wanted to make sure that we did this early enough. So this episode will land on October 8th, which is, enough time. Hopefully, if you've got some time to get your book set up for holiday sales. But part of the reason that I wanted to do this, or that we wanted to do this today, was because I'm not sure, Amy, if you can even count how many times that you've gotten emails from authors post Thanksgiving saying, what can I do to sell more books for Christmas?
Oh, all the time, without fail. And it's disheartening a little bit, because obviously there's a lot we could still do to help them overall. But once, they get those blinders on, like the clock is ticking to January 1, and they want to play a lot of catch up in the lack of book marketing or sales that they've gotten for the year. And they think like, okay, I'm ready now. I've got 2 weeks. Let's do this. It's like, that is just really not how it works.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And that's where, I think that if you have all of your other pieces in place and you're thinking in late November, I want to do some kind of a promo or something like that in time for the holidays, that may even be too late. Because one of the things I know we're going to talk about is doing kind of special dates, organizing with special dates and doing ebook promos. But those book up pretty far in advance, especially around the holidays, right?
Yeah, they definitely do. Because this is something that, a lot of authors that really have found their rhythm and what works for them to keep their monthly sales relatively consistent. That is just, what we're going to talk about is something that a lot of these authors already know and do and plan for.
Yeah.
So this is not a completely unknown concept, but I will say it is a small percentage of those authors that have really hit their stride and have figured out what works. And they do incorporate a lot of what we're going to talk about.
Well, and one of the things that I want to say early on, and one more quick announcement before we get into the show, because I'm really excited. So the revised 2021 edition of How to Sell Books by the Truckload is coming out, should be up for pre-order sometime in late October. So it'll launch in November. But I also just finished From Book to Bestseller, which is a revised book I published, I want to say over 10 years ago. And one of the things that I talk about in that book that I wanted to mention specifically on this podcast is when you're doing your book marketing, any book marketing. Now we're talking specifically today about holiday book sales, but when you're doing any book marketing, keep a journal of what you did. The reason for that is because when something works, we often forget exactly what we did to get to that spot where we're like, oh my gosh, this worked so well. But if you keep track of everything that you're doing that led up to this big spike in sales or whatever great thing that happened, you can potentially replicate it. So,
yes.
And, go ahead.
Shameless plug for our free download.
Oh, right.
Our monthly book marketing planner. I know you actually didn't plan that, Penny, but my ears perked up and you're like, you should really keep track. I'm like, oh, we have that. We have that.
We have and you know what's so funny is that has been one of that's the craziest thing.
Thousands of downloads.
Oh, we came up with that on the fly, and it is just so successful. People love planners. I love planners. I have all these planners and I love them. So yeah, definitely keep track of everything that you do. I want to lead this with that there is in marketing, there is the saying of Christmas in July. Like we see this a lot, right? Christmas in July, Christmas in July. Part of the reason for that is for bigger holiday ramp up. So really big brands, they do tend to start planning their Christmas rollout, their holiday rollout in July, right? Which is why you hear that. But part of the reason why we wanted to run this podcast early enough is so that it gives you enough time to plan, and doing things like this is one of my favorites, and we should definitely chat about this first, but packaging your book for the holiday market, which I really, really love. And it doesn't necessarily have to mean that you are completely redoing the book cover. You can potentially change your book description, right? You could add, a great holiday read, or perfect gift for mom, or for a young reader, or something like that. I mean, Amy, you came to me with a really, really cool idea for a romance author we work with on how to repackage a book for the holidays.
Oh yeah, that was really fun. And like you said, Penny, it's actually surprisingly easy to make these little tweaks that just immediately stand out to browsers. And are you talking about the update we did to the cover?
Yes.
It was so simple. I will tell you, everybody listening, I am not a whiz with editing software or anything like that. But what we ended up doing was overlaying a holiday style bow on a corner of the book cover. We just took the book cover. We did it in Canva, I believe, Penny.
Yeah.
And we just did an overlay. Like we added a bow to the cover, and it just sat there perfectly. And the author was able to just re-upload it to Amazon. Then all of a sudden, there is the book cover, and it's got this pretty bow on it that was so perfect for the holiday season. And it's unique. It stands out. It makes people take a second look. It's just such a really brilliant, easy way to make a dramatic impact. And it's free.
Yeah.
Gotta love free.
Yeah, it's free. And, it's very simple. If those of you listening thinking, oh, but how do I do with the logistics behind that? She has a print book and an ebook, but she just updated her ebook. So it was a great, she just updated the ebook title, and the print book title stayed stagnant. But you also mentioned, we've also talked about this too, about updating like your author photo to make it, create like a holiday theme background or something.
I love that idea. I honestly wish more authors would do this, because everybody knows that people have really taken the ugly sweater concept up like 1,000 notches, and it's so easy to find fabulous ugly sweaters now. And I'm sorry, if I saw an author photo that had that around the holidays, I would almost buy the book just because they got style points. Like, I'm buying your book for style points all alone. So little things like that. And again, that's free. It takes less than 10 minutes to plan to get a new headshot done with your ugly sweater on, get it uploaded to Author Central, and bam, all of a sudden you've got something that really makes you stand out as unique.
Yeah. And, one of the things, and we're actually going to do a mini-sode on this, but the details really do matter when it comes to holiday book sales. A lot of times people think, because I write a number of blog posts on holiday book sales, and we did an entire book that you and I worked on how to sell more books during the holiday season. And a lot of it, yes, there's planning, and yes, all of these different promos that you can do, but a lot of it is really down to the details and reminding people, making the connection between the holiday and your book. This would be a great gift for, the young reader, as I talked about, and, or just, a great book to curl up and, dig into the holiday season, et cetera, really helping readers make that connection. And you can do that on the back end of on your Author Central page, and updating your book description, or adding some touches to, some updates to your bio or something like that.
Exactly. And I think for nonfiction authors, it's important to remember that holiday sales really roll into New Year's resolutions and things like that. And so if you've written a topic that you can cleverly work into wrap up your year the right way and get this done, or start the next year, on top of your game, and focus, spend some time focusing on this during the holidays when a lot of us have a little downtime to spare. And just like you said, Penny, make that connection and remind them that this is actually a really good time to focus on a couple things that aren't just strictly, escapism, fiction, things like that. Like, if the holiday season, we really do have a little bit of time, and we get in the mood for self-improvement. We want the season to end well, the year to end well. Like, I think there's a lot of clever ways to work that in and kind of tap into that motivation that a lot of people have as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. And if you have one of the things that I really like to do is, if you have a newsletter list and maybe you haven't touched it, or maybe or maybe you haven't sent them an email in a while yet, now is a really good time to warm up your list and start to prep them for, whatever you have planned for the holidays. But speaking of holiday sales, one of the things that I really like to do is a buy one, get one, or, you came up with a number of promo ideas that we've done for my books, and then for other, fiction authors that we work with as well. But it starts with your mailing list. So you can maybe tease some of this stuff in October. The reason that I mentioned warming up your mailing list is because you want to get them used to seeing emails from you, right? You want to get them used to, and also so that you can kind of gauge your open rate, and maybe even play with some different email subject lines and things like that to get, to see what gets a better open, so that when you do offer that buy one, get one, or whatever promo it is, you're going to get a good response from your mailing list. Amy, you came up with a number of, we did a number of promos. I know mostly of it was around release date, but we also did them for the holiday market too.
Oh yeah, there's so many. Oh my goodness. I mean, there's so much that you can do you already mentioned the BOGO. Oh my goodness. That's honestly one of my favorites, and it's the easiest to, I'll be totally honest, it's the easiest to, I think, execute as well, Penny.
Yeah.
For those of you listening, I am totally that person. Penny always has consistently really awesome ideas for promos that we can do. And I am that jerk that sits there and like immediately says, but how are we going to pull it off? Like, I am totally owning to being that, let's say, Grinch now, so we can fit in the theme of this episode. I'm totally that Grinch that is like, but how are we going to do it? So now, I will say from personal experience, the BOGO is a really easy one to pull off. And I would say, honestly, even if you're really new to this book marketing thing, you could pull off a BOGO promo.
Well, but the thing is that if you get, buy one, you can either be buy one, get one, or buy one, give one, right?
Yes.
So, exactly. And what I do, just to kind of give y'all a little bit of a shortcut, and Amy she's very hard on herself, but she actually really grounds me, because I get these wild ass ideas. I'm sorry. I think that was my first cuss word on the show. We should have like a jar. I listened to this one podcast. This guy's like, I have a cuss jar, and all of a sudden it's like there's $200 in it or something.
So funny. I know we should have to give away something every time we swear.
I know. There we go.
We'll come up with something new in an upcoming episode. So everybody keep an eye out for that.
Right.
Year out, I should say.
But I come up with these wild ideas, and I'm like, hey, Amy, let's do this. And she's like, I just don't know that, how we get. But the BOGO is really easy, because basically what we do is we tell people, all right, so when you buy my book, send me the receipt that you bought it. Okay. And then tell us who you want the free book gifted to. And we always gift the free book in ebook, right? So you don't want to be necessarily mailing books out to people. So I gift the ebook, and sometimes I gift it on Amazon, but sometimes I gift it through BookFunnel. So I have an account through BookFunnel, and I love them. And it's just bookfunnel.com if you've never heard of them. And I gift you can gift ebooks there, and you can also protect the ebooks. So if you're worried about people forwarding them on or something like that, that that there's a system in place that they don't. And I use this for everything. So I use this for reviewers when I have new books out, etc. But to do the buy one get one or buy one give one, it's really, really, really fun. And especially when you get into those last few days of marching up to Christmas and people thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to get XYZ a gift, run those BOGOs. We've had some really good success with that. But now let's get into, this is Amy's favorite part. I'm not much of a planner. Have y'all noticed? Like, Amy's like, she's the planner, which is awesome because it balances us out. Because I have these wild ideas and she's like, all right, but we have to figure out how to execute them. So planning and scheduling your social posts and images and hashtags, because you manage, and we've talked about this before on the show, Amy manages our all of our social media. I'm on there. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't just vanish, but 90% of the time it's Amy.
No, yeah. I think we have a really good combination going, actually. It makes for a really good blend of content. But yes. And so to go along with getting ready for the holidays, the decorating, things like that, think of pull that vibe into what you have going on online.
Yeah.
And so on social, this also counts for your website, incorporating festive, holiday, winter themed images and things like that. It's such an easy thing to do. And it's actually quite fun once you just sit down and start doing it. Get your website decorated for the holidays, make a big deal about it. Especially if you're doing a BOGO, you want to make that a feature of your website for the holiday season if you've got something really special that you're offering. And then, plan and schedule your social media posts. Again, it's kind of like decorating. Just embrace it. Update your cover images and things like that. Again, we mentioned, your author central bio picture, doing a fun, festive theme. Do the same thing on your social media. And we've definitely written blog posts about this, but there's a lot of standard hashtags for the holidays, that fit different genres and just shopping in general. Obviously, there are some for specific dates, like Cyber Monday is a great time to plan an ebook promo, things like that, holiday sale, gift giving. And then there are, obviously ones that are related to books specifically. Holiday romance is, of course, huge. So if you've written a holiday romance, hopefully you have lots planned, and you should actually post a comment on our page and let us know what you've done to promote your book. If you are a holiday romance, superstar, I'm sure you figured out some things that are just awesome during this time of year.
Well, and let's circle back to those, scheduling important promotion dates, right? Which is one of the points that we need to address, and because that's part of the planning, whether you're doing ebook promos or whether you're going to do BOGOs around those dates or whatever. What have you found in particular for this year? Because I realize this year is going to be wonky, to say the least, in terms of all the big shopping days. Are you seeing that people are expanding? Because I think I saw Walmart they weren't going to have. I mean, they're going to do the Black Friday, but they're going to have like a month of Black Friday or something like that. Like, what are you seeing out there?
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely I personally love how everybody's gotten on board with free and fast shipping, especially if you spend X amount of money. So I think that we're definitely just going to see people, based on what big retailers are doing, it works really well for authors, because I think people in general are going to be relying on online shopping even more than usual this time of year, because, it's still, we're kind of in that weird zone of how much time you spend in public spaces, in small spaces around other people. I believe a lot of stores in a lot of cities are still monitoring ins and outs with how many people can go inside. And I just, that is going to play a huge role in how people shop. So definitely planning out those dates and taking advantage and getting some of that online, real estate taken care of, and getting your book on there is going to be really important, and grabbing a piece of that.
But I think that, do you think that Cyber Monday and Black Friday are going to be what they have been in years past? Or do you think that it's going to be, in other words, like I've done promos before on Cyber Monday specifically because Amazon, they have all these blowout sales, et cetera. But don't you think that it's going to be more protracted? In other words, that we're going to have Cyber Monday, Cyber Tuesdays, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I would bet somebody's going, I think we're going to see a lot of countdowns as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of clever, online shopping countdowns and kind of days of, 6 days of, 12 days of. I think people are going to find lots of really creative ways to keep pulling you back in, which is brilliant. Those return shoppers, return impressions. And so doing something similar with your social media, even as an author, with even just one book, you can really plan out a fun way to keep drawing people back in, whether it's different promos, discounts, a BOGO. I mean, we've already, a reveal of your updated cover, a fun reveal of your updated author photo in your ugly Christmas sweater. Like, these are the kind of things that are actually really personable and very touching and really say a lot about you and help people connect with you on a more emotional level. And those kind of people want to spend money on your books. And so really milk all of those cool things that you're doing and turn it into a big reveal,
Yeah. And I think that also, start to look through some of the ads, right? Because Sunday papers and, weekly ads and things like that, you're going to start to see a lot of these places that are prepping consumers for their holiday market. Like, for example, how Walmart just announced that they're going to have Black Friday, but they're also going to have Black Monday, Black Tuesday. But, so they're going to, start you, because that can help to start to kind of generate some ideas that you may want to replicate for your own promotion. The other thing that I will say too, because Amy, you hit on this for the free shipping. I have a blog post coming up, and I don't know exactly when, because I sent a whole bunch of them to our awesome blog person the other day. But I have a blog post going up on your website, right? So how to sell more books on your website, which is not what the show is about. But one thing that I want to mention too is if you're more keen, if you are looking to push more people to your website versus Amazon, and you want to try to make more money on your book than you do on Amazon, obviously, because you will with selling it on your website, think about not charging for shipping, because what's really interesting is that people will pay more for an item if they get it get it with free shipping, which is weird, right? But consumers are really, really funny about paying for shipping. So if you're thinking about this and you think, I can send people to Amazon, but I'd really like to send them to my website, think about doing no shipping from, Black Friday on through the holidays or whatever. And if you're running BOGOs and you want to run them off of your website, and if, you really need you need traffic to your website and you need a strong mailing list to do this. But if you want to run those BOGOs and run them off your website and, keep all the profit or whatever, you could even do something fun like autographed books and mailing out autographed books as gifts and things like that. I've known authors to take this even further and say, we're going to gift wrap and ship this to the recipient and save them a lot. And that takes, that's next level kind of work. So don't be listening to this thinking, well, I'm just not ready for this, I'm not going to do it, because you can participate in the holiday season, even doing something as simple as, changing up your book cover.
Right. No, I think that's really smart. And it's very true. People don't like extra fees. That's such a huge thing now. I think that's T-Mobile's big thing, isn't it? That what they quote you is all you're ever going to pay unless you add stuff on or whatever. There's no hidden taxes or fees. And it's so true, because there's definitely an element of getting excited about a product. And then when you finally get to checkout, it's like, where did all this extra money come from?
Yeah.
You were so thrilled that you found X for $20. Then all of a sudden, once you're checking out, it's like, well, now it's $37.50 and I'm not as excited. So
Right. No, that's absolutely true. And I also think that, now more than ever, this year more than ever, we're going to see a lot of last minute shoppers. I think what Amy talked about is very, I think, Amy, what you talked about is also true. I think that people aren't going to do as much in store. I mean, I know because I'm in San Diego, I still have to wait outside my Trader Joe's to get in the store.
Right. And it's just going to get crazier.
It's just, and it's funny because I was standing in front of this woman and she said, well, isn't this year special? I said,
oh, that's funny. Reminds me of church lady. That's hilarious.
I laughed so hard. It was hilarious. But I think now more than ever, because everything is taking much more time, right? And kids in school, kids not in school, all of this stuff has added another layer to our lives. And I think we're going to start to see a lot more last minute shoppers. So honestly, if you're planning ebook promos, and I know you think, well, Penny, if I'm doing an ebook promo and I'm discounting my book and I'm not making holiday sales, you don't have to make it you don't have to charge 99 cents for it. You could discount it by $1 or something. But if you're doing an ebook promo, trying to pull in the holiday sales and you're discounting it, update your book description to say, special holiday promotion or something just as a lead in so that they know that the book is discounted, even if they just kind of landed on there organically as opposed to through the ebook promo ad that you're running.
Exactly. And I think, it's so funny because we get excited about book marketing, and Penny and I both admittedly get very excited about the holidays as well. So this is kind of like us on some sort of holiday drug while also talking about book marketing, which is next level exciting. And so I know we've shared a lot of different ideas, but I think the major takeaway is that it doesn't take a lot of time or effort or even money to do a couple even small things, if that's all you have in you, to really just do something different than what you've been doing. And typically when you start doing things that are different, that have proven to work for others in the past, you tend to get rewarded for that. You do see results from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in the show notes, I'm going to list, I'm going to put a link to 50 Ways to Sell a Sleigh Load of Books, which was released. Was that last year? I
lose track, but I will say we.
I know.
But I will say we definitely, it's one of those things that because there's a holiday season every year. So I will say that we did, I'm giving ourselves a pat on the back here, that really we aimed to include strategies in that book that were going to be pretty consistent year to year. It's not, it's not like the Amazon book, Penny, where you have to really put in a ton of time to make sure that those updates make it in every year. The holiday stuff, a lot of it is buyer psychology and just incorporating that into book strategies that we know already work. So there's a lot in there that really is relatively evergreen. Certainly, that'll last us a couple of years for sure.
Yeah. Well, and also next year, I'm going to turn that book into a, not just focused on the December holidays, but all year, because one of the things that we do, and Amy actually does this, and she came up with this idea, is every month we have here are the special holidays for this month that you could anchor your pitch or your book promotion to. So we are, obviously we're focused on the holiday market right now, but lots and lots of holidays throughout the year that you could be anchoring your book sales to that you might want to consider. But we'll definitely link 50 Ways to Sell a Sleigh Load of Books in the show notes. And we hope that you have enjoyed this podcast. We really appreciate it. We love reviews. I had so much lead in stuff. I didn't lead in with my begging for reviews. So this is we have 10 reviews on iTunes. I'm so excited. Yay.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, but this is me now begging for reviews. So please leave a review. We love show ideas. We're going to do a show shortly on using video in your promotion. And that was actually an idea that a listener sent in. So we love those.
Yes. And Penny, can we ask them and part of your review today, let us know what we talked about that you're going to plan on using. That would be amazing.
Oh, yes.
If we said something today that really clicked with you, that you're like, I'm going to do that this year, I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens, post that in your review so we know how you guys are using this content.
Yeah. I think that's a great idea. I think that is a great idea. And it is a better way to remember tips from the show. So if there's a standout tip from any of our shows, mention that in the review that you're going to give that a shot. And that's studies have shown that it's a better way to remember to do things. So thank you so much for tuning in. This is Penny Sansevieri and Amy Cornell, and we appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.